Hello, lovely people, and thank you for joining me for another art video. So today I wanted to briefly take a look at two watercolor workbooks. I'm sure we've all seen in recent years the increase in availability of watercolor workbooks of all kinds. There are some that have gotten reviews, and we know they're good. They have great watercolor paper, they deliver what they promise. But we've also probably seen the more, cost-effective watercolor workbooks from sites like Temu and AliExpress, and they've made their way onto Amazon. And I bought one because I wanted to save a little money. I'm intrigued by the watercolor workbooks. I wanted to see what they have to offer. And so I bought one when it was on sale, and it was pure garbage. I no longer have it. I painted in it and then I tossed it. Mainly, besides the fact that the paints were worse than Crayola, the paper that you were supposed to paint on was the same as the paper that the illustrations and instructions were printed on. In other words, it was extremely smooth cardstock or some kind of photo paper. It was glossy. It was absolutely not watercolor paper. I was like, so offended. I had previously spoken to a friend of mine about watercolor workbooks and how intrigued I was, and that friend bought me a watercolor workbook that looks very similar to the one that I bought and threw away. For the one that I had was flowers, and this one obviously has a really cute teddy bear. I think it's adorable, and I hope that it's good. The paint set is also different. I think the manufacturers all use kind of like the same template, maybe even similar factories, but they're kind of different. So they're not all necessarily the same level of crapitude. Is that a word? It is now. I mean, the presentation is definitely much nicer, and the paintbrush, I was gonna say they don't seem as bad, but that one does. It's a cute little palette. These are those little hard, they almost remind me of vitamin C tablets. Okay, but anyway, let's look at this first. Now the image shows that it has watercolor paper. It does not. It does not. This is, okay. So that's garbage. It's all the same paper. It's like a kind of photo paper, but it's got indents in it to simulate the appearance of cold pressed watercolor paper. I don't even know if I'll be able to show you guys this. You might be able to kind of see the indentations in the paper surface. It's definitely not cold pressed watercolor paper. This little bear is so cute. The illustrations are definitely better quality than the ones in the other workbook that I got. That one basically took the painted images and converted them into line drawings and then put them here for you to paint. This has some really cute illustrations. These would be fun to draw. You know what? I might actually still use this to just as a coloring book for like alcohol markers. Look how cute these images are. Inflatable slide. Look at the little cat. Oh my god. This is adorable. Too bad the people who made it weren't watercolorists and didn't really understand what watercolor paper actually is. I'm not really gonna use these paints. I'm gonna use my real watercolor paints. I've got the brushes soaking. I mean, it might not actually go bad. When I was painting on the photo paper in the first sketchbook, it was actually kind of looking cool because it was not a conventional watercolor paper. I mean, I don't care about the colors, so let's do a nice permanent magenta. The one good thing about this paper is that, you know, it's because of it's got some kind of finish on it, so it's not going to really absorb the paints. And that's where it dries, and which means, you know, you can't really do any glazing or anything because you'll lift the other the other layers. It's not actually as bad as I expected it to be. It's just not watercolor paper. So as you can see, the paint is pretty much just sitting on the surface. And the paper is already, it's kind of bowing upwards. Let's just toss some yellow ochre on here in a semblance of a cupcake paper. So this watercolor workbook definitely isn't, I mean, I shouldn't even call it a watercolor. It's not really a watercolor workbook. It's a book with some illustrations for you to fill in, and they happen to supply you with watercolors with which to do it. But that doesn't make it a watercolor workbook. Maybe that's just semantics. This is definitely better than the one that I had before. The illustrations are better. So I think if you did give this to somebody, they wouldn't necessarily be disappointed, especially if they weren't already familiar with watercolors. They would think, oh, I know I said I wasn't going to, but let me try to simulate the experience that somebody would get. Not bad. I mean, honestly, less pigmented than my Mission Gold paints, but otherwise, the experience of laying down the paint is pretty much the same as when I laid those ones down. I'm almost begrudgingly gonna say this isn't that bad. I'm trying to get like a smooth, flat wash, and that's not happening because it immediately starts bubbling up. Not bubbling, but you know what I mean, like forming a little dome where the water is. And so all of the pigment is gathering around the outside. Oh wow, letting it sit with water really helped with the color payoff. Let's use this purple to do its eyes. This pink is really not doing it for me. I'm gonna let this dry and let's see how it glazes. I just want to see how this paper performs. No, just say no to alcohol markers on this paper. Okay, so that was a try. Didn't work. I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try to paint this like a real painting. I'm gonna try to complete it with the paints and with the brush. I wasn't gonna make myself suffer, but I think it's not giving it a fair chance if I don't. So let's go. It is very hard to stay in the lines. I think I'm gonna like try to ignore the lines somewhat. That's my excuse. See, normally this isn't how I would paint. I very much do paint. That didn't make sense. I very much, or what? I most often paint wet on wet. I very rarely do wet on dry until like the ending stages, the ending layers, when I'm like doing glazing and adding color here and there. So I'll do this wet on dry, and then I'll do the body the way I would normally paint. Let's try as hard as we can to actually make this look good. Like, let's try any little trick we can think of. Actually, like, put in some effort and try to make this look good. Okay, now let's try my wet on wet technique. I want you guys to see what the paper's doing. It's very, very, very lumpy. Like more than even just regular water paper buckling. Let's add some shading. This is so terrible. I can't believe I'm trying so hard. I think that's what's making me laugh so much, because I'm really like trying to get this to do what I want it to do. I'm trying to take into account, you know, the paper, and that it's just not gonna, you know, what I've learned about its idiosyncrasies so far. And it's still, oh, I'm struggling. I mean, I usually say that every painting goes through an ugly phase. That's when you most have to persevere. That's when you absolutely can't give up, no matter how hopeless you feel. Because otherwise, you never reach the pretty phase, which most paintings eventually do reach. I'm doubting that philosophy right now. Let's do some very light pink in his little ears. His little ear holes. I mean, those little feet are really bothering me now that I'm trying to do like realistic colors. But since those little feet are so blue, I think what's so funny is that I'm sitting here, like if you could see my face, I'm sitting here so focused and serious, and it just looks terrible. It doesn't matter. I'm doing it. I don't care. This is gonna look amazing. Pom-pom. I just feel like it should be yellow. Let's see if I can do some smoothing. It worked. He was so adorable before I had at him. He was really cute. And now he's had some problems. You know, I was saying that you could give this to a kid and that they wouldn't care. But now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the reason why I have kind of disdain, I guess, or just avoidant tendencies when it comes to scholastic grade art supplies is specifically because that's what I had when I was a kid, and I would struggle so much. Like, maybe not with crayons. Crayons, you can actually do some pretty cool stuff. But like with watercolors like this, and the supplies that you get as a kid, although this brush isn't actually that bad, I have like bad memories. So maybe don't buy your kids cheaper quality, cruddy art supplies. No, maybe you're causing long-term damage. Maybe you're creating memories that aren't going to be that fond. Like, I remember struggling with watercolor paints that looked and worked like this, and those weird plastic brushes that would never form a point, and cruddy paper that wasn't even watercolor paper, and trying to paint on it. And having this vision in your head, even as a kid, you can still want to do quality work. You can still have this image in your head of what you want to create, but you're so limited by your supplies that unless you give up trying and you just resort to scribbling and accepting that it's going to look like crud, you're just going to feel frustration. Am I going too deep? I don't know. I kind of don't think so. I mean, if anything, this will teach patience and perseverance. A kid won't necessarily know that they're having such a hard time because the supplies aren't good. They're going to put the blame on themselves. They're going to think, well, I just can't paint. I'm just a terrible artist. This is clearly not for me. Let me go find another hobby. Whereas they might actually be a good artist. They might actually have the skills and the ability to learn and improve and accomplish that dream, but they've been thwarted from the beginning, and now they don't believe in themselves. Am I putting too much thought into it? I don't think so, actually. I think these are real things to take into consideration. He's cute. Cute little bear. Those weird little divots are bugging me, where the water pooled as it was drying. It's like challenge accepted. Let's add a little shadow to him so that he's not floating. Okay, here we go. We can do this. Use all my skills. Use everything I've ever learned about watercolor. Which isn't that much, granted, but I can at least make a shadow with crappy paints on crappy paper. I can do this. So silly. Okay, done. I did everything I could. You guys saw how hard I worked to get this to look halfway decent. I actually think it looks kind of cute, but that was so much work. That was way more work than necessary. Like, even with these paints, if it had just been real watercolor paper, this would have taken a third of the time. So would I recommend that you buy this? No. There are better coloring books if that's what you want to gift somebody. As for the illustrations in this, yeah, they're super cute, but you can get coloring books with equally cute illustrations that are much more complete. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, please consider leaving a like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of my little watercolor videos. I will see you guys next time with whatever random thing I want to do next. Thanks for watching.